All right, we've got some people showing up early. That's what I like to see, because when people show up early, we can talk about cats. How are you feeling today on the scale of cat? Go ahead and type a number in the chat box and let me know how you feel today. If one of these cats resonates with how you're feeling, if there's a number 3 out there because of lots of coffee, if there's a number 8 because of no sleep, Wendy's at a number 5. Oh, Sonia, I'm sorry, you're a cat number 6. Head colds can do that. And if you don't want to type in the chat box, what you can do is you can stamp. If anybody here knows how to use the annotation toolbar, you can stamp on the cat that you feel like today. To find the annotation toolbar, it might just be right there in your Zoom toolbar, little pencil that says annotate, or you might have to hit the more button on the end with the 3 dots on it. But most likely you're going to go there through the view options drop down. There's this green bar under your Zoom toolbar that says you are viewing Caelan Huntress' screen. And next to that, there's a view options drop down, and you can use that to get to the stamp tool. And when you have the stamp tool, you can stamp which cat you feel like most today. And let me know which cat you most resonate with. Or you can go get coffee or use the restroom, because we're not starting for a few minutes. So if you need this for break time, totally understand. I am drinking a long black, the longest of blacks. If anybody else is drinking a beverage, feel free to type that in the chat box, what it is you like to drink while you're on Zoom. We've got about 50 people registered today. So I'm expecting about half of that to show. We'll see how that goes. Sometimes we get a whole bunch of people who registered, and sometimes we get a fraction. So I'm hoping for big today. We'll see if we get a bunch of people in.
That's a trick, isn't it? Yeah. Dead on.
What's the trick, Michael? All right, it's the top of the hour. So if you could let me know which cat you identify with the most today. You can either type a number in the chat box, or you can use a stamp to stamp next to the cat that you most identify with. And let me know what your mood is like by picking one of these cats. You might be a number 6 because you've got a head cold like Sonia. You might be a number 8 because you've watched so many Tech Week presentations. You can either type a number in the chat box or use the stamp in the annotation toolbar to highlight which of these cats most resembles your mood today. And we'll get started in just a couple minutes with the presentation. Lauren's feeling like a 5 today. That's the right cat to take in a whole lot of information at Tech Week, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Great. Well, while we're waiting for others to show, I'd like to know where you are in New Zealand. So if you can find the stamp tool in the annotation toolbar, go ahead and put a stamp on the place in New Zealand where you are. And I know there might be some people in other parts of the world. And so there's some map here for those other people, but New Zealand spends so much time off the map. I thought it would be good to center New Zealand today, since this is a New Zealand-based event. But if you're joining us from somewhere else in the world, you can use the stamp tool to stamp where you are in the world. It's in the annotation toolbar. There's 3 ways to get to it. It might be right there in the Zoom toolbar where it says whiteboard or annotate, and there's a pen icon right there. Or it might be in the more at the end, those 3 buttons, and you go to annotate. Or what's more likely is you go to the view options dropdown, which is next to the green bar that says you're viewing Caelan Huntress's screen. Go ahead and select a stamp and tell us where you are right now.
Where the hell is the stamp?
The stamp is the 5th option on the annotation toolbar. Great, we've got a bunch of mainlanders here today. I just moved to the South Island 3 weeks ago from the North Island. So thanks everybody on the mainland for holding things down for me till I could get here. We've got some Auckland. We've got some, is that Fiji? Way up top. Got some Wellington, got some Christchurch. Great. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and clear everybody's stamps. So thank you everybody for contributing to the map here. And we're gonna go ahead and get going. Now, because my Tereo pronunciation is questionable,
So once you finish with
would anyone else like to open the meeting? You could raise your hand either visually or in the reactions if you feel comfortable reading this karakia written by Scotty Morrison. And if there's no volunteers, I will attempt it. So my apologies in advance for my pronunciation. Tutoa mai irunga, tutoa mai iraro, tutoa mai iroto, tutoa mai iwaho. Kia tau ai, te maori tu, te maori ora, ki te katoa, haumi e, hui e, taiki e. So thank you everybody for joining me today for Grow Your Business with Marketing Automation. My name is Caelan Huntress, and this is my 3rd year presenting at Tech Week. When I first moved to New Zealand 3 years ago, one of the first things that I did was I signed up to present at Tech Week 2019. And I've presented every year since. And so it's really gratifying for me to be a part of this event and to be here sharing this time with you from the South Island of New Zealand. I'm on Te Waka a Maui in Aotearoa, and I want to extend my gratitude and my thanks to the ancestors of this land, both physically and digitally. This place where we're meeting together in this virtual event also has its own ancestry. And so I want to take a moment to acknowledge all the work and technology that's come before us that allows us to just click a button and hop into a virtual room in cyberspace together. I'm really excited about what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to go over a quick agenda. We're going to start by talking about the game of attention and how marketing can help you win the game of attention. We'll go through the 4-step customer cycle, and I'll share examples of list building lead magnets and how you can use lead magnets to grow your business. And then we'll spend a little bit of time talking about the architecture of a marketing stack and different ways that you can construct a marketing stack to grow your business with marketing automation. At the end, I'll also share with you a PDF checklist that I've put together. It's the marketing automation checklist has 16 points that you can cover to set up a marketing automation plan for yourself. Now, I'm going to be providing a lot of information and resources, so I encourage you to take notes. go ahead and get a notebook or a paper and a pen and have them handy so that you can write down ideas and actions that you want to take in the future. But if you like to take notes in public, then feel free to put your notes on Twitter or on LinkedIn and use the conference hashtag TechWeek 2021. So if there's something that comes out of today's presentation where you think, oh, that's a great idea, I want to share that idea. Make a Twitter post while we're in this presentation. I'm not going to know. You can go over to Twitter or to LinkedIn or to Facebook or your platform of choice and use the conference hashtag to share any ideas that you find worthy in this presentation that you'd like to share with others. And if you like, you can tag me as well. My name's right there in the corner. You could just do @Caelan Huntress on just about any platform and you'll find me there. Now, I will be providing the slides at the end of the presentation and with the replay. And if any of you got the reminder emails, the link to the slides is in there as well. So marketing, when it's done well, doesn't take all of your effort and time. Marketing yourself is one of those necessary evils that we need to go through to build our business. And we can either do it well, or we can do it badly. And a lot of people start out by doing it badly because that's how you learn. But what I want to do today is I want to give you some practical techniques that can serve as a shortcut to success so that you can grow your business and generate more leads so that you can get back to doing your best work. No matter what it is that you do in your work or your business, there's some craft that you do that is not marketing. And what I'd like to know is, what is it that you do? Why do people hire you? Go ahead and type it in the chat box and let me know, why do people come to your business? What's the problem that they need solved? Go ahead and type in the chat box. A customer comes to you because they want this thing. I'd like to know, like, what is it that people come to you for? Reducing overwhelm. Yeah, that's a big one. People will pay top dollar for reducing overwhelm. Yeah, they need a coach. They've run into a technical roadblock. That's a good one. That's a pain point. I've got this challenge and I need an expert who can help me overcome this challenge. When we have a marketing automation system set up properly, the right types of leads will come to us without our active involvement. You know, a magnet doesn't need to exert any energy to attract. It just sits there. And your marketing serves as a magnet for your leads, but it takes effort to make the magnet. You don't just dig a magnet up out of the ground. You have to mine the ore and then smelt it into steel and then bend it and run a whole lot of electrical charge through it. And after all this effort is done, then a magnet can attract effortlessly. And your marketing works the same way. Once it's working, it works effortlessly, but it takes a lot of effort and time and expertise to set it up right the first time. So that's the kind of work that I've been doing for a long time. I left the United States 10 years ago and started running a website design business. And for a long time, my marketing automation relied on free consultations. And this is a picture of me speaking at the National Speakers Association conference in Denver, where I was helping speakers set up systems that marketed their business automatically. And the way that I attract my clients to me is with conversations. For the last 10 years, anytime somebody had a business and a big idea, I'd be willing to get on a Skype call with them for 30 minutes to talk to them about it for free. And while I don't really get in person with people, you know, I like to have these coffees over Zoom. But what I've found over the last 10 years is that this way of attracting my clients has given me a 30% closing ratio. Statistically, 3 out of every 10 marketing consultations that I give end up hiring me for my marketing agency services. My digital marketing agency, Stellar Platforms, helps experts and entrepreneurs set up smart marketing systems. And so what I learned was if I could just attract the right kinds of people to have these conversations with me, then I wouldn't need to reach out to people one-on-one. I could spend half of my working hours offering free consultations to people. Or I could set up smart marketing systems that extended those invitations automatically. And so what I did by setting up this system is I got a sneak peek into the businesses of hundreds of other entrepreneurs. I saw how they were attracting their clients. I measured how effective their systems were at turning strangers into customers. And I've put a whole lot of the learnings that I've gained over the last 10 years into this presentation that I'm going to share with you today. And the biggest thing that I found out is that none of us know what we're doing. Marketing is a series of failed experiments. And I've got a photo here on the slides of a kid who just blew everything up. And a lot of times when we put a marketing campaign together, we want it to be the answer so that we can stop figuring out how to do our marketing and get back to doing our best work. But unfortunately, it doesn't always work on the first try. Julie Stoyan was the VP of ClickFunnels when she said most funnels don't work when you launch them. Even if you're a pro, it may take 2, 3, 4, or 10 tries until you get it right. So I offer you this perspective as a warning that when you launch a marketing campaign and it doesn't work right away, don't worry about it. Treat it as an experiment. We're not going to get this right on the first try. What we can do is we can use the learnings from these experiments to make our marketing better in the future. The scientific method has 5 steps. You come up with a hypothesis. I have an idea and I think it might work. So I'll run an experiment to see if this hypothesis is correct. That experiment's going to give me data that I can observe and I can apply to the research that I've created all this time. And based on that body of research, I'll make another hypothesis. This is an iterative process. It doesn't end. So having a marketing automation system that brings you leads week in and week out without your active involvement is a goal to aspire to. But even when you get there, it's still going to take time to revise it. I generally revise my marketing funnels once a quarter, where I go through and I look at the data and I make observations and I come up with new hypotheses so that I'm always tinkering with them. Because even if your magnet works, you can still improve its performance. Now, anytime you create a hypothesis and you launch a campaign, it's like Schrodinger's cat, where it's both alive and dead until you open the box. Any marketing campaign is both a success and a failure until you measure the data. It's a success because you've launched it out there. You're getting your message out. You're letting people know who you are and what you do and why you're amazing. But it's a failure until you know if it brings you the results that you want. I might be able to book 100 free consultations this month, but if it doesn't turn into client work, is it really a success? Just because I get a whole bunch of people on the phone? Is that the success I'm aiming for? Or is the success more clients and more revenue? So clarifying what your goals are in a marketing campaign is really essential. And I see this experimental process as one of the 3 main components of marketing automation. There's the experiments that you launch, the messaging you put out into the world, and the leads that you generate. In the overlaps between these areas, we've got your evergreen calls to action, those repeatable phrases that you use to invite people to do business with you. There's the weekly content that you put out regularly. so that you don't have to wonder, what am I going to say this week? You've planned it in advance. And then there's the quarterly launches, those regular experiments that you put out into the world to find out what's going to bring me the most amount of leads for the least amount of effort. Smart marketing is like a cup of coffee. And this is a picture of roasted coffee beans. And if you're a coffee drinker like I am, this looks great. It looks really appetizing. But this isn't what coffee looks like when it grows on the vine. Coffee starts out completely differently than as it ends up. It grows in these beans, and they don't all ripen at the same time. This is why coffee has to be picked by hand, is you need to pick the red ones and roast those. If you pick the green ones or the yellow ones, it will be very bitter coffee. So you have to be really selective about the different types of beans, and then you have to burn them just a little bit. Not a whole lot, just a little bit, enough to char them on the outside. And then you grind them into a powder and you put boiling water through it so that by the end, what you drink in your cup is nothing like what you started out with. Smart marketing is like a cup of coffee. It doesn't look anything like what you start out with, but it's been flavored by what you've done. So if you put together a marketing campaign and you really like this turn of phrase, and then you find out later in your experiment that it doesn't work, leave it out. Let it stay in the filter. That coffee that comes out at the end, it doesn't need to contain anything that you start out with. This is an iterative process. The things that work for you this year might not work for you next year or 10 years down the line. So be willing to let go of anything that doesn't lead you to your main goal of attracting more leads. That's ultimately what we want, is we want the ability to attract more leads without expending more effort. A lot of people try and do this with their content. And they say, okay, I'm going to write a bunch of tweets. I'm going to post on Facebook every day. I'm going to do live streams. And sometimes it gets people interested and it brings them closer into the fold. And sometimes it turns people off and your follower counts go down and you end up spinning your wheels and spending a lot of time making content that doesn't turn into business. And the reason why is because we haven't defined the purpose of the content or the goal of the content. The purpose of your content is either to educate or to entertain your audience. The goal of the content is either to build a relationship or to drive revenue. And if you know the purpose and you know the goal of any given piece of content, then you know the flavor that you want to give that content. You might be starting a party because you're entertaining and building a relationship. You might be trying to persuade. You might be trying to get somebody to purchase from you, or you might be promoting an offer without a call to action to purchase. So knowing the goal and knowing the purchase or the purpose is going to help you decide where in the customer cycle you want a piece of content to go. There are 4 steps to the customer cycle: know, like, trust, and buy. The first step is somebody's got to know you, learn about who you are and what you do. But there's a different step from knowing someone to liking someone. That liking happens over time. It happens because a relationship is established. And as time progresses, that eventually turns into trust, where you fulfill your commitments to someone. You prove your worth to them. And if somebody knows you and likes you and trusts you, then you can ask them to buy from you. A lot of people try and go right to the end of the customer cycle without spending time building up the other areas. And that's why their content falls flat, is because they go straight to asking someone to buy without building the relationship first. There's a journey that people go through from stranger to customer, and each step on the customer cycle can help them move through this journey. Strangers don't know who you are, but once somebody browses your website, they know you. Once they subscribe to your newsletter, they like you, they trust you. Once they purchase from you, they buy from you, and you can measure each step along this cycle. There's your general website traffic of how many people land on your website, and how often does that traffic turn into newsletter subscribers? If you can get those two pieces of data and run a simple formula, then you'll have a subscription ratio. Out of every 1,000 people who land on this website, X number of people are predicted to subscribe to the newsletter. Once you have those formulas, then you can start to run more intelligent experiments. Well, if I send 10,000 people to the website and my subscription ratio holds constant, I can expect to see this many new newsletter subscribers. When I send a newsletter, on average, this many people open it and this many people click on it. When you know how often somebody will click to purchase from you, that's when you can do the most profitable experiments in your marketing. Knowing the purchase rate means that all you have to do is drive a certain amount of traffic at the top of your funnel, and you can get a predictable revenue result at the bottom of the funnel. This is what takes time to build. This is creating that magnet that attracts people to you. But in order to create that magnet, you need to measure your metrics. It's like Jim Rohn said, what gets measured gets managed. If you're not measuring your traffic, you can't manage your traffic. A lot of times we do this in a structure called a sales funnel. And a sales funnel is simply a progression from stranger to customer. At the top might be an ad campaign. In the middle might be your onboarding sequence. And at the bottom is your sales page. Measuring all the different stages along your sales funnel is what's going to give you the data to make better hypotheses about your market. So there was a study done on the conversion of websites, and they found that only 15% of website inquiries convert right away. If somebody comes to your website and they fill out a form that says, hey, I want to do business with you, on average, 15% of them are going to turn into business right away. On average, 50% will convert within the next 18 months. That gives us a difference of 35% of your website inquiries that are ready to do business with you at some point. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but within the next year, we could expect them to do business, unless they forget you. If you're not keeping in touch with your audience, if you're not nurturing that relationship, then this number will go down. Conversely, if you spend time nurturing your email list, sending regular valuable messages, then this number goes up. This 35%, this is the low-hanging fruit that you can focus your marketing on. People who say, yeah, I'm kind of interested in that, but not right now. Those are the people you want to target with marketing automation. And the easiest way to do that is with email. Your email list is a practical measurement of the effectiveness of your marketing. The size of your list, how often they open your newsletters, how frequently they engage with you. This is one of the only practical methods that we have to measure the size of an audience. There was a study done by LinkedIn, and they found that an average of 11.4 pieces of content needed to be consumed before making a purchase. Now you can follow up with a dozen phone calls over 18 months to get somebody to do business with you. Or you can automate a lot of those touches through an email onboarding sequence. This was used really well by Claire Pelletreau, who does a lot of blogging over at clairepels.com, and she upgraded her MailChimp plan. and put together an onboarding sequence. And she didn't start from scratch. She used her top blog posts. She told her story. She put links to her services page and her courses page, and immediately she started getting more clients and customers. And this is how she did it. She profiles this on her blog on clairepels.com. This is her 10 email sequence for one of her evergreen funnels. You opt in on her website to download one of her PDFs, and she delivers the PDF right away and lets you know about a tripwire, an inexpensive, low-priced offering that she has, and there's a countdown for while it's available at this price. And the next 3 emails are just delivering value, building know, like, and trust. She doesn't sell in those emails. She just provides value. In email number 5, she reminds you about that tripwire. And the countdown, it's almost done. And then sends 3 more emails, building know, like, and trust. It's not until email 9 that she pitches her services. She puts them in a bundle and does another countdown timer, and she sends 2 emails selling those services. But can you see how this is more effective than selling the services right up front? It takes the time to build a relationship, to allow people to know her, to like her, and to trust her, so that by the time that she makes an offer at the end of this sequence, it seems natural. Anybody who's still on the list by this point, they've received so much value that asking them to buy is a natural evolution in the relationship. Now, to set up an email onboarding sequence, you can use the emails that you sent in the past that performed really well. Recycling your best material, this is one of the secrets of how to do marketing well. If you send a broadcast and it gets a 40% open ratio because your subject line was dynamite, when somebody subscribes to your list 6 months down the line, they never got that email. They're not going to be seeing it for the second time and thinking, oh, she's using the same thing. It's totally fresh and new. So you can go back through your email service provider and see what were my best emails. You can go to Google Analytics and say, what are my most popular blog posts? What's the content that people really resonate with? What's that one social media post I had that went viral? Put those into your email onboarding sequence so that way it's the best of the best. You're not putting together things in order to manufacture a relationship. You're using the content that has been validated. Previous experiments said this content works. There was a study done by Campaign Monitor, and they found that for every $1 spent on email marketing,
Listening to a webinar.
there was an average return on investment of $44. Now, can you think of any other area in your business that gives you 44x ROI? If I asked you to spend $100 to get $4,400 back in your business, would you think it was a good investment? This is what Campaign Monitor found, is that when you invest in email marketing, you start to see dramatic results. But I want to clarify the difference between a broadcast email and an automation email. A broadcast email is sent once, while automations are sent regularly. A broadcast is something I send this Friday to promote something that's happening next week. It can be time sensitive, but I don't want to do that in an automation email. Because if I put an automation sequence in that says, hey, I'm doing this thing in July, if I forget to go and edit that after July, then everybody who subscribes is going to see this old stuff in my newsletter. So anything that goes in an automation should be evergreen. It should be applicable no matter when somebody's reading it. A broadcast is scheduled to go out at a specific time, but an automation can go out at any time. With an automation, you set it and forget it. This email goes out 3 days after subscription, and this one 30 days after subscription. So I don't know when an automation email is going to land in your inbox. But that's why it's great that it's evergreen, because it doesn't matter when it arrives. Broadcasts are great for promotions, like today's live presentation. I sent it out as a broadcast last week to my newsletter list. And I said, hey, I'm doing a live presentation for Tech Week. But I wouldn't put that in an automation because it's time sensitive. What I do with automations is I review them once a quarter. And I go back and I look at my metrics to see which emails are getting opened, which ones are getting clicked on, which ones should I take out, and what new ones can I put in. I'm always iterating on an automation because I can make it better. So that statistic that I shared with you about 44 times return on investment, in that same study, they found that 320% more revenue is derived from automated emails than from non-automated emails. So if you're going to invest in email marketing because you want to see a tangible return, the best place where you can put your marketing dollars is in automated emails. And the first place that anybody sees you is your welcome email. Your welcome email is your chance to make a good first impression. After you subscribe to somebody's newsletter, that first email that you get, that can make or break a relationship. You know, it's like going into a shop and you rub your feet on the welcome mat and you step in, you know, that little bell rings on the door. And then imagine the shopkeeper saying, thanks for coming in, and disappearing in the back. And it's up to you to browse the shelves and find what you want to buy and answer your own questions. Is that how you want to be welcomed into somebody's business? Or would you rather the shopkeeper come and show you around and say, hey, these are the things that we have on offer, and you might like one of these over here. Creating a welcoming atmosphere, it's going to make a good audience. And that's what your newsletter list is. It's a captive audience to whom you can sell. Selling to an audience that's agreed to sit and listen to you is a lot easier than standing on a soapbox in front of the train station. And you can do that if you want. You can go out in front of the train station and yell at the top of your lungs and try and distract people into paying attention to you. Or you can attract people to you and ask them to sit down in one place so that when you want to provide a marketing message, you don't have to give that message to the general public. You can give that message to people who have agreed to listen to it. A lot of times people don't want to market themselves because they feel like they're being pushy. But marketing only feels pushy if you haven't done enough pulling. Pulling people to you and attracting them into your audience creates a safe space for you to sell. This just takes a relationship. Reaching out through your computer and creating a relationship with people is how you earn the permission to sell. You could do this one-on-one. You can send individual emails to get those 11.4 average contacts that you need to make a sale, or you can automate as much as you can. And the best way to automate these relationships is to focus on a problem. This picture shows somebody who knows how to solve the problem of all of my dominoes are falling over. This guy knows how to solve that problem. He stops one of the dominoes. If your problem is all my dominoes are falling over and I can't stop them, and this guy says, I know how to stop it, that's exactly the kind of person that you want to talk to. So the way that we automate marketing automation relationships online is we do it with a lead magnet. A lead magnet is a small, digestible, highly consumable example of your work. And it solves a problem that requires high expertise, but it's not that difficult to solve. If there's a problem that's not that difficult and anybody can do it, most people will do it themselves. They'll go on a YouTube tutorial and see how it's done, or they might just spend the time figuring out how to do it. But when it requires higher expertise, that's when they need to go do some research online. I'm sure this has happened to you. You had a problem and you weren't sure how to solve it. So you fiddled around, you tried to do it yourself, and then you said, you know what, I need to do some research. As you did just a little bit of research, you realized this problem was a lot more complicated than you thought. You might have watched a few YouTube videos. You might have downloaded some lead magnets. You might have subscribed to some newsletters. As you're collecting resources of expertise that's at a higher level than you, you're also becoming exposed to people who can solve progressively more complicated problems. A problem that requires high expertise and it's very difficult to solve, that's what people hire others for. So your services should be positioned as something that requires high expertise and high difficulty. Your lead magnet should be something that requires low difficulty and high expertise. My marketing automation checklist is one of my lead magnets. It's a simple solution to a complicated problem. You want to know what your entire marketing automation plan should look like, then this checklist guides you through how to do it. Now, before I give you this PDF, and I'll walk through it here on this presentation so that you know what all 16 steps are, I want to clarify how this is used in my sales funnel. The marketing automation checklist is at the top, and at the bottom is a product that I sell called a marketing automation planner. And it's a 16 module online course. It's got 16 videos that are less than 10 minutes long, and they go through the 4 different stages of a marketing automation plan: your landing page, your welcome email, your thank you page, and your email series. And I have templates and tools for all of those. And if anybody wants to do that on this presentation, I've got a coupon for Tech Week 2021. It's the same as our hashtag, and you can get 50% off if you want to do that. And so I'll put that website in the chat box, as well as the hashtag or the coupon code that you can use. And I'm also going to give you the marketing automation checklist. And the checklist is free. You don't have to subscribe to get it. You could just click on the link in the chat box and download the PDF. Now, what I want to do is walk through this checklist with you so I can share with you how the different components of it work. One second, I got to switch my sharing over. And I'm trying to find my window. I've almost got it. I really do. Hang on. There we go. Okay. So this is the marketing automation checklist that you might have this open in another window. If you're watching this on the replay, I'm just going to go through this real quickly. So the first step of setting up your marketing automation is getting a mechanism to capture leads. And we start with the lead magnet. The lead magnet is what solves a problem for your customer. This is what they're searching for. They're not looking for you. They don't want to know about your business. They want to know about the solution to their problem. This is the forward-facing asset that you can offer to anybody who's in your target market, and they would find it valuable. You promote that asset with an evergreen call to action. And the call to action is a simple, repeatable phrase that you can provide anywhere to get people to opt into your newsletter and access your lead magnet. You also need a landing page where people can subscribe. And for extra credit, having a pop-up, unfortunately, it works really well. I have my own ethical dilemmas with pop-ups because I don't like having to close 7 different pop-ups when I land on a website, but the stats are clear. They convert really well. So having a pop-up on your website is an easy shortcut to generating more leads. Step 2 is a nurture sequence, so that after somebody has known you, they can get to like you. And that starts on your thank you page. The thank you page is the welcome mat, where you can direct them for what they can do next. Download this lead magnet, follow me on social media, read these testimonials, look at my pricing page. The thank you page, it has 100% opt-in rate. Everybody who gets to your thank you page is ready and willing to do something else. So if your thank you page just says, thank you for subscribing, you're missing an opportunity there. Your email onboarding sequence is that regular automated series that people get that you can set and forget. So you don't have to manually send these out. People are automatically guided through this sequence. And then they get to know you, they get to like you, they get to trust you. Somewhere in that series, I highly recommend that you provide case studies and testimonials so that you can offer social proof. You can prove to these people that are new subscribers that you're trustworthy. You can tell stories about how other people have had their lives and businesses changed by working with you. Step 3 is converting strangers into customers. It's asking them to buy. The easiest way to ask someone to buy is with a tripwire. And a tripwire is a low-priced offer that helps you segment your list between people who will buy from you and people who won't. And if you have a segment of your list of people you know are willing to pull out their credit card and buy from you, it's a lot easier to sell to that segment than it is to your whole list. Offering a coupon that expires at a specific time is a really useful way to increase conversions. Because if people know that they can buy this thing at some point, it goes into the someday file. Maybe I'll do that. But if they know that they can do that at a specific rate until this time, it manufactures urgency. And then there's a link in here for a template for measuring your tracking. I use something called UTM parameters. They're that garbage that you see at the end of a URL where there's like a question mark and all this stuff afterwards. Putting those on links in your onboarding sequence helps you measure what's working. If you know, for example, that 50% of your website inquiries are coming from a specific email in your onboarding sequence, and 50% are coming from one of your 3 Facebook ads, that gives you intelligent data that you can use to make better decisions in the future. But you only get that data if you track your activity well. Step 4 is a spotlight offer. It's having some high ticket offer that people can buy from you at any time. For me, it's a 3-month coaching program. And I always tack on a call to action for my 3-month coaching program at the end of just about anything that I provide. So that way people know that if they're looking for a business coach or people who can help them, somebody who can help them grow their business, then I'm one of the methods that they can use to do that. Now, Spotlight offer works best if it has a defined time to completion. It's not something I'm committing to for the rest of my career. It's something I'm committing to for a specific period of time. But when I promote that offer, I want to have outcomes and benefits clearly stated so that people know what it is that they're going to get out of it. And you need a sales page where you can sell all of those. Now, if you go through this checklist and you have all 16 of these points, you're going to have a marketing automation plan. You're going to have the ability to create experiments and measure those experiments. Now, down at the bottom of the marketing automation checklist, there's information about the marketing automation planner, the outcomes and benefits that you're supposed to have in there, the testimonial you're going to have in there. So if you want to join the marketing automation planner, then you can do that through the link I put in the chat box or the link here at the bottom of the PDF. But do you see how I did that? How I sold from the end of the lead magnet? This means that I don't have to go out and sell my course to people. I can instead provide value. I provide the marketing automation checklist, and then some people get interested in the program at the end. But I don't have to push the sales pitch if I'm pushing the lead magnet. Okay, so now I want to come back over to the slides and go through a couple of things over here. Forgive me one moment. All right, so we've gone through the marketing automation checklist. I want to go through the architecture that I use for my marketing stack. The way that I set this stack up is I start with WordPress because I'm a web designer and I like to design my own landing pages. And so I use WordPress to design the landing pages that capture my leads. I use Gravity Forms to collect information. So everybody who registered for this webcast, you went to a WordPress page and then filled out a Gravity form and received a notification from ConvertKit. ConvertKit is my email service provider. My course, the Marketing Automation Planner, is delivered through Experientify. That's my learning management system, my LMS. And this is the stack that I put together. But I could have also done all of this with ActiveCampaign. ActiveCampaign is what's known as an all-in-one. It does everything. It does landing pages, it does email automations, it does form builders, but it doesn't do any of them very well. It does a couple of things great, and then a couple of things okay. And you find this with a lot of all-in-ones. There's Infusionsoft, there's Kartra, there's HubSpot, there's a whole bunch of them. And I'm not going to get into the differences between all-in-ones. Instead, what I want to focus on is the difference between an all-in-one stack and a custom stack. The advantage to having a custom stack is that I can have a best-in-class landing page builder and a best-in-class email service provider. Gravity Forms is a form builder that I love because it lets me do things that almost no other form builder will let me do. But I can't put together an entire marketing stack on Gravity Forms. I have to hook in all of these different pieces. And so it takes me more time. That's the disadvantage of a custom stack, is that I have to spend a lot of time figuring out what is the best-in-class component and how do I put it into my stack. Whereas with an all-in-one, you buy one account and you have everything set up. Unfortunately, the development team for an all-in-one marketing platform, they're going to have their own preferences. They're going to be really good at a few things and then not so good at others. So one of my clients was on Infusionsoft for a bunch of years, and the email was great. The forms were totally clunky, and the landing page builder was the pits. Because the email was so good, we stayed there. But whenever I had to make a landing page, I was like, man, we have to use this awful landing page builder again. But that's the trade-off. When you have an all-in-one, you get stuck with some pieces that are subpar. But you don't have to do that time investment you need with a custom stack. A custom stack is generally less expensive. The average price of a custom stack from end to end is $300 to $500, while the average price for an all-in-one is $1,000 to $5,000, and that's per month. So if you have a higher marketing budget and you don't want to spend so much time on your marketing, an all-in-one could be a great solution for you. But if you're operating more lean, if you don't have a lot of funds, but you do have more time, then a custom stack can help you operate a more lean business. The disadvantage of a custom stack is that if you run into problems, you got to figure it out yourself. There's nobody that has the same custom stack that I do, or maybe there's a handful of people in the world. But none of us document what we're doing so that other people can go through it. But with an all-in-one, there's lots of user-friendly tutorials. There's walkthrough videos. You want to know why your landing page isn't recording the data over here? Here's a video, and there's a whole staff of customer service people at the all-in-one platform whose only job is to make it easier for you to do the things that you want to do. So that's a big advantage that an all-in-one has. But it might not be as suitable for your business. I like using a custom stack because I'm a nerd and I like figuring out all these pieces, and I can get the ones that work best for my business. And I'm not stuck with whatever the all-in-one development team has happened to put together. But I forfeit all the reports. Reporting in a custom stack, it's really difficult to get data from this platform and that platform. You know, I've got to do a lot of manual collection and put it together in one spreadsheet and sort of cobble it all together. But in an all-in-one, you can click a button on the dashboard and you can see how often somebody went to this ClickFunnels page and then subscribed to this lead magnet and purchased this, and they'll lay out the entire flow for you in a beautiful report. So these are some of the advantages and disadvantages of a custom stack and an all-in-one. And I'd like to know, which one do you use? If you use either of these right now, go ahead and type it in the chat box. And you can type the word custom stack, or you can type the word all-in-one, and let me know which one it is that you typically use. Now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a poll here. Let's do a poll. You should see a poll up on your screen. Do you use a custom stack or an all-in-one? Or do you plan to use one of these or the other? I'll keep this poll up for another 30 seconds and let me know which one that you use or you want to use. 10 more seconds. Okay. All right, let's see, based on the people who are here, let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and close the poll and I'll share the results with you. Looks like most people use a custom stack. Couple people use an all-in-one, couple people plan to use an all-in-one. Great, now if you're planning to use an all-in-one or you're planning to use a custom stack, I'd love to know your reasoning. So type it in the chat box and let me know, why did you decide to use an all-in-one? Or why did you decide that a custom stack is right for you? Is there one particular reason? Go ahead and type it in the chat box and let me know. Okay, so now we're going to review the agenda, make sure we did everything that we were supposed to today. We talked about the game of attention and how to earn and maintain attention. We talked about the 4-step customer cycle of know, like, trust, and buy. We talked about how to build your list with a lead magnet and the different types of architecture that you can use in a marketing stack. And so that brings us to the end of the presentation today. I'm going to stick around for a few minutes if anybody has any questions or wants to talk about their own marketing architecture. But before I do, I want to review this bonus, the marketing automation checklist, and let you know about a second bonus that I'm offering to everybody who came here live. And this is a free 30-minute platform assessment. There's no cost to this call. You can go to caelanhuntress.com/coaching, and I'll put that link in the chat box here. The only thing that I ask is if we're going to get on the phone for 30 minutes, that you spend 10 minutes in advance filling out a form, letting me know about you and your business. So that way I can come to the conversation prepared with ideas. This is not a sales call. We don't talk about my coaching program in this call. What we talk about is you and your business. And if at the end of that call, you want to talk about my coaching program, we'll schedule a second call to discuss that. But if you want to have a free 30-minute platform assessment, then you can go to caelanhuntress.com/coaching and fill out the form there. And what this does is that what I really like doing is helping find ways that people can stop spending so much time on their marketing so that they can get back to doing their best work. And the way that we do that is that we maximize the revenue that you earn from your offers. And in my 3-month coaching program, I do this by creating repeatable systems that deliver authentic messaging that converts leads into customers automatically. And the way we do this is we focus on the cornerstones of your platform. Every platform has 4 cornerstones. There's what you say and what you sell. And those are the external cornerstones. That's what people can see when they look at you. But you have these 2 internal cornerstones that are just as important. And those are your strategy and your systems. And if any one of these cornerstones is low, your whole platform is going to be off balance. And that one cornerstone is going to be continually dominating your attention. Your platform's always going to be leaning over here because that's the cornerstone that you need to work on. And so we find out what cornerstone is weak, what cornerstone is strong, and then we build up those cornerstones to elevate your platform. And we do this with a series of workbooks. We focus on what you sell, we focus on what you say, we focus on your systems, and we focus on your strategy. And I use 12 different workbooks in this 3-month coaching program to elevate the cornerstones of a platform. And what that does is it helps people create a marketing system that brings them out of their marketing, so that all they have to do is provide a simple message to the people who want to hear it. And by providing that simple message, you can elevate your platform and get back to doing your best work. So if you'd like to have a free 30-minute conversation, you can go to caelanhuntress.com/coaching and schedule a platform assessment there. And that brings us to the conclusion of today's presentation. So I'll stick around for a few minutes if anybody wants to chat, but if anybody has to skedaddle, thanks so much for spending time with me today.
Thanks, Caelan. That was awesome.
Thank you for coming.
I'm sorry I don't have my camera on.
It's okay. It's not just you.
I'm having a bad hair day. But Caelan, really good insight there. Very valuable. So thanks. I'll be in touch with you soon.
Great. Thanks. I'm looking forward to it, Wendy. Ingrid, this is a great question. Maxim, yes, I will send you the PDF via email. I'll include the link with the replay when I follow up with that later. Ingrid asks, does this program and approach work with nonprofits or charities as well as businesses? And the answer is yes, because no matter what it is you do in your business, you're selling one of three things. You're either selling a product, a service, or a mission. And nonprofits sell their mission. And the best example I know of selling a mission is Tom's Shoes. Tom's Shoes is a for-profit organization, but they have a stated mission of putting shoes on any child who needs them. And so if you buy a pair of shoes from Tom's Shoes, they also donate a pair of shoes to a child in need. And that's baked into their mission. And what they found a way to do is to sell their mission instead of their shoes. And so the types of work that I do with nonprofit is convincing stakeholders and getting donations. And selling a mission is often what people need in order to validate the time and attention that they're spending with a nonprofit. So I hope, does that answer your question, Ingrid? I hope that does. Hi, Tay, thanks for joining us. We've gone through the presentation, so I'm just sticking around for Q&A if anybody wants to talk about marketing. How much, Ingrid's got another question in the chat box. How much does my 3-month program cost? It's $5,000. And the coupon discount that I offered earlier was for my marketing automation planner, which is a 30-day course. And that's $47. And so the 50% coupon brings it down to, gosh, I have to do the math, like 20 something if you wanted to do that. Okay, well, we're coming up to the top of the hour. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me. I'll send out the replay sometime tomorrow with a link to the PDF. And if anybody has any questions in the meantime, feel free to send me an email. Thanks so much, everyone. Have fun out there.